Told you it's an 8-hour trip that the president is making, and he is banging it out on Truth Social. Iran will never rebuild their nuclear facilities, is the latest of the messages that he has put out, of course, in the frustration that he has right now with Israel. Still waiting to hear, if anything, from them. In the meantime, our plan was to have quite the conversation about Australian politics, because I've got something special for you, which is Linda Scott and James Ashby in the man cave tonight. But alas, the world is always getting in the way of things. Lovely to see you both.
Good to see you, mate.
So, to see the president drop an F-bomb live on TV, and also he's pretty clear here, which is... regardless of what happened a week ago, regardless of what happened 2 days ago, he says, regardless of what has happened in Israel tonight, Israel, hold off, don't respond.
Look, it's actual bombs and an F-bomb from the US president in 1 week, so it's a pretty extraordinary time. And it's interesting because we have seen so many foreign affairs, and diplomacy officials talking for so long about how the second wave of a Trump administration would create, real regime change for the world. And we are now seeing that. I think it's a very dangerous environment. We've got, Qantas planes turning back over these airspaces. And I know the Australian government's working very hard to keep a watch on everything, but there's not just, the US, Israel and Iran here. We've got a whole lot of countries looking on very closely, Pakistan, a range of others. So a very dangerous, volatile time.
And of course, getting close to 5,000 people who are in this region who want to get back. They obviously can't because of those closed airports at the moment. But again, James, the thing that I find fascinating, and again, we can do two things at once, which is to look at the whole situation as well as the incremental things that are happening. Trump doesn't hide what he is thinking. He doesn't. He's essentially, and the joy of the technology means that he's not waiting for the back channel. He's just blasting it straight out, and the world can all find out together in real time what he's thinking.
Well, I like the fact that Trump is living up to what he said. He does not want war. And to be able to turn around and just moments ago say that Israel have turned back its jets is a good sign, because that is not what the world wants. We've made it very clear. I think what's happened in the last week has been necessary. We've been very, very, very confident that this will end, and it will end soon. It may not have ended as quickly as what Trump had wanted, but it can't go on for long.
As I say, got lots of things to get to tonight. Nigel Farage will join us very shortly from the United Kingdom. So let's try to bounce through a couple of local issues here, including one that literally affects you, James, which is the staffing levels that the re-elected government has now decided to impose upon anyone whom is not one of their political friends. Now, what are we saying here? We're saying that there has previously been about 21% of the total amount of government staffing is given to opposition parties. Now, whether the assumption is here because there are so few members of the opposition, therefore fewer staff, but remember, this is an alternative government, right? We have the absurdity of places like Queensland, where David Crucifulli, I remember, told me that the entire staff of the opposition was 20 people. This is versus the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that are working in all different parts of the machine. And that's bad for democracy, right? Regardless of whether it's Team Red or Team Blue, you want the people who are your political opponents to have professional staff around them. But it seems there might be something rather specific about the staff behaviours towards One Nation.
Well, what I found most disturbing, the Prime Minister clearly back-channeled media before he gave any decency to go and have those discussions with the senators or the party leaders that were about to lose staff. I had staff wake up this morning texting saying, am I losing my job? We hadn't even received the letter. Now, that's despicable. And to think that this Prime Minister has cherry-picked his friends and then flicked his enemies, that's precisely what he's done. He has said, we're halving One Nation staff numbers. The personal staff will be halved. He said, Ralph Babet has lost staff today. He has had his personal staff halved. But the likes of Tammy Tyrrell, David Pocock, Jackie Lambie, they haven't.
Yeah.
Now, one in, all in, or you just can't cherry pick your friends. That's the problem.